Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever stopped and wondered what happens when you stop being the one to always pick up the phone, always send a text, always initiate? Let me tell you something. It's not just about the other person's reaction. No, no. It's about you discovering your worth and learning the dynamics of connection. Your presence is one of the most valuable assets you bring to any relationship. It's more than just being physically there. It's about your energy, your attention, your support, and your unique essence that no one else can replicate. When you understand and embrace the power of your presence, you start to see relationships, romantic, platonic, or professional, through a more empowered lens. The first step in recognizing the power of your presence is understanding that it holds value. Too often, people underestimate their worth, thinking that they need to prove themselves by constantly initiating contact, making plans, or being overly available. But let me tell you something. Being the one who always reaches out can create an unhealthy dynamic. It sends a message, perhaps unintentionally, that your presence is easy to come by, that it's guaranteed, or worse, that it's taken for granted. Now, let's flip that perspective. Imagine stepping back, not out of malice or manipulation, but out of respect for yourself. What happens? The space you create allows others to reflect on what your presence truly means to them. If your absence goes unnoticed, that's a clear sign of the level of importance they place on the relationship. If, however, your absence sparks a reaction, that's when the power of your presence becomes evident. You see, relationships should be balanced. When both people recognize and appreciate each other's contributions, they thrive. But when one person carries the weight of initiating, it leads to imbalance. By stepping back, you disrupt this pattern, encouraging the other person to either step forward or reveal their lack of interest. This isn't about playing games or testing someone's loyalty. It's about fostering mutual respect. When you constantly initiate contact, you may inadvertently rob the other person of the opportunity to show their care and effort. By stepping back, you create a moment of reflection, not just for them, but for yourself. You gain clarity about how your presence is valued. Furthermore, your presence isn't just about what you bring to others. It's also about what you bring to yourself. When you recognize your worth, you become more intentional about where you invest your time and energy. You start to focus on relationships that uplift and fulfill you rather than those that drain or diminish you. Finally, remember that your presence carries an emotional weight. It's your kindness, your humor, your strength, your support, and your love. These are not things to be given lightly or without reciprocation. Your presence should never feel like a burden or an obligation. It's a gift. When you truly understand the power of your presence, you no longer feel the need to chase or overcompensate. You stand firmly in the knowledge that your presence matters, and those who genuinely value it will step up to meet you halfway. By embracing this mindset, you set the tone for healthier, more balanced, and more fulfilling connections. Self-worth is the foundation of a healthy relationship, not just with others, but more importantly, with yourself. In a world where external validation, likes, texts, compliments, often feels like a measure of our value, it's crucial to recognize that true self-worth comes from within. When you prioritize your self-respect over seeking validation, you unlock a sense of confidence and inner peace that no one else can take away. Let's start with the distinction between validation and self-worth. Validation is external. It's about others affirming you, telling you that you matter, that you're attractive, or that you're worthy of attention. While these affirmations can feel good in the moment, they're fleeting. They rely on someone else's opinion, mood, or availability, which means they're unstable and unreliable. Self-worth, on the other hand, is internal. It's the unwavering belief in your own value regardless of what others think or say. When you base your sense of self on validation, you're essentially handing over control of your emotions to someone else. If they respond to your text, you feel happy. If they don't, you feel ignored or unimportant. This dependency creates a cycle of insecurity where your confidence rises and falls based on external feedback. It's exhausting and unsustainable. Now, let's shift the focus to self-worth. When you prioritize your self-respect, you understand that your value isn't determined by how often someone reaches out to you or how much attention you receive. You recognize that your worth comes from your character, your actions, your kindness, your intelligence, and your unique qualities. This inner strength allows you to navigate relationships with confidence. Choosing self-worth over validation doesn't mean you don't care about others or their opinions. It means you don't let their actions dictate your happiness. For example, if a man doesn't reciprocate your efforts to connect, it's not a reflection of your inadequacy. It's a reflection of his priorities or readiness for the relationship. By understanding this, you free yourself from the trap of overthinking and self-blame. When you prioritize self-worth, you also establish healthier boundaries. You're no longer afraid to step back or say no because you trust that doing so will not diminish your value. In fact, it reinforces your confidence and teaches others to respect your time and energy. Furthermore, self-worth fosters emotional independence. It allows you to enjoy relationships without relying on them to fill a void. You become a partner out of choice, not necessity. This independence is not only attractive, but also empowering. It shifts your focus from, am I good enough for them? To, are they good enough for me? Ultimately, self-worth over validation is about reclaiming your power. It's about realizing that your happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from the approval of others. When you embrace this mindset, you attract healthier relationships because you're no longer seeking someone to complete you. You're already complete. And that, my friend, is a game changer in both love and life. At the heart of any meaningful relationship lies the principle of reciprocity, the mutual exchange of effort, care, and respect. Reciprocity is what keeps relationships balanced, ensuring that both individuals feel valued and understood. When one person consistently initiates contact, plans interactions, or gives more emotionally, an imbalance emerges, revealing deeper truths about the dynamics of the connection. To truly understand the importance of reciprocity, let's first explore what it represents. Reciprocity is not about keeping score or demanding equal effort at every moment. Instead, it's about a natural give and take where both individuals contribute to the relationship in meaningful ways. This balance fosters trust, mutual appreciation, and emotional security. When reciprocity is present, both people feel seen, valued, and motivated to nurture the bond. However, when one person takes on the majority of the emotional labor, always reaching out, planning, or initiating, it creates a one-sided dynamic. This isn't sustainable, as it often leads to feelings of resentment, burnout, and diminished self-worth for the person who's giving more. The other person, consciously or unconsciously, may begin to take the effort for granted, further exacerbating the imbalance. So, what happens when you step back and stop being the primary initiator? You create space for the other person to step forward or to reveal their lack of willingness to do so. This moment of pause is critical. It allows you to assess the relationship more objectively, free from the cloud of constant effort on your part. If the other person begins to reciprocate, it's a sign that they value the connection but perhaps needed that nudge to reflect on their level of involvement. If they don't, it's a clear indication of where their priorities lie. Stepping back isn't about playing games or testing someone's loyalty. It's about honoring your own boundaries and needs. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to see whether the relationship is truly balanced or if it's being held together by your efforts alone. This isn't selfish, it's necessary for emotional health. Reciprocity also helps to reveal alignment in values and priorities. A relationship where both people naturally contribute is built on shared respect and understanding. Each person feels motivated to give because they feel appreciated, not because they fear losing the connection. On the other hand, when reciprocity is absent, it often indicates mismatched intentions or emotional readiness. Another important aspect of reciprocity is that it deepens connection. When both individuals actively participate, the relationship becomes more fulfilling. Effort from both sides fosters mutual appreciation, which strengthens the bond over time. This dynamic creates a partnership where both people feel equally invested, leading to a healthier, more ultimately, the dynamics of reciprocity serve as a mirror reflecting the health and balance of a relationship. By stepping back when you feel the imbalance, you reclaim your energy and self-worth while giving the other person an opportunity to rise to the occasion. Whether they do or don't, you gain clarity, confidence, and the ability to prioritize relationships that honor the principle of mutual effort and respect. Clarity in intentions is a vital cornerstone of any healthy relationship. It refers to the ability to understand the true motives, desires, and priorities of both yourself and the other person. When you step back and stop initiating contact, you create an opportunity to observe the other person's genuine intentions without the influence of your constant effort. This clarity is invaluable, as it reveals whether the relationship is built on mutual interest or simply sustained by your persistence. In any relationship, both individuals have a role to play in maintaining the connection. When you're the one constantly initiating, it can obscure the other person's level of commitment. They may respond to your efforts out of habit or convenience rather than genuine interest. By stepping back, you allow the dynamic to shift, providing space for the other person to reveal their true feelings. One of the most powerful outcomes of this approach is the insight it offers into their priorities. When someone values a relationship, they will make an effort to nurture it, even if you're not always the one taking the lead. On the other hand, if they fail to step forward in your absence, it's a clear sign that their priorities might not align with yours. This realization can be difficult, but is ultimately liberating. It prevents you from investing your time and energy into a relationship that lacks reciprocity and authenticity. Clarity in intentions also helps you assess your own needs and boundaries. Sometimes, in the pursuit of maintaining a connection, we overlook our own feelings and desires. Stepping back gives you the chance to reflect on what you truly want from the relationship. Are you seeking genuine companionship, emotional support, or long-term commitment? By aligning your actions with your needs, you ensure that you're not compromising your self-worth for the sake of temporary validation. Your validation. Another critical aspect of clarity is recognizing patterns. When you stop initiating contact, you gain an unobstructed view of how the other person naturally behaves. Are they proactive in reaching out? Do they show genuine interest in your well-being? Or do they drift away, indicating that their involvement was superficial? Patterns speak louder than words, and observing them provides a deeper understanding of the relationship's dynamics. And for me, personal freedom. That is yours. That leads to joy and peace. That leads to success. This period of reflection also allows you to evaluate compatibility. Intentions are not just about effort. They're about shared values and goals. Clarity and intentions can reveal whether you and the other person are on the same page regarding the future of the relationship. For example, if you're seeking emotional depth and they're content with surface level interactions, it's an indication of a mismatch that needs to be addressed. Ultimately, stepping back isn't about creating distance for its own sake. It's about creating space for truth to emerge. By prioritizing clarity and intentions, you protect your emotional health and ensure that your relationships are based on mutual respect and alignment. This clarity empowers you to make informed decisions. Boundaries are one of the most empowering tools you have in relationships. They define what you will and won't tolerate, ensuring that your needs and well-being are prioritized. Boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out. They're guidelines that teach others how to treat you with respect and care. When you step back from constantly initiating contact with a man, you are setting a boundary, one that empowers you to take control of your emotional energy and fosters healthier, more balanced connections. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing your worth. Far too often, people fear setting limits because they worry about being perceived as cold, distant, or unloving. But boundaries are not about punishment. They are about self-respect. They are a way of saying, I value myself enough to ensure that I am treated with the same effort and respect I give to others. When you prioritize your self-worth, you realize that boundaries are not a luxury, but a necessity. Stepping back and creating space in a relationship sends a powerful message. It shows that you're not willing to carry the weight of the connection on your own. This act of pulling back isn't about playing games or testing someone. It's about giving yourself room to breathe and observe. It allows you to evaluate whether the other person is willing to step up and meet you halfway. If they respect your boundary and respond with effort, it's a sign that they value you and the relationship. If they don't, it reveals where their priorities lie. One of the most empowering aspects of boundaries is the confidence they instill. When you establish clear limits, you're taking control of your emotional energy. You no longer feel drained by overextending yourself or frustrated by one-sided dynamics. Instead, you create an environment where mutual respect and effort are encouraged. This shift in dynamics not only improves your relationships, but also boosts your self-esteem. You begin to trust yourself more, knowing that you're capable of making decisions that prioritize your well-being. Boundaries also help eliminate ambiguity in relationships. When you step back and stop initiating contact, you force clarity into the equation. You allow the other person to reveal their level of investment without the noise of your constant effort. This clarity can be uncomfortable at first, but it's incredibly freeing. It helps you see whether the relationship aligns with your needs and values, allowing you to make informed decisions about its future. Another key benefit of boundaries is that they foster mutual respect. When you demonstrate that you respect yourself enough to set limits, others are more likely to respect you as well. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. They signal that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. In turn, they encourage healthier, more balanced interactions where both parties feel valued. Ultimately, empowerment through boundaries is about reclaiming your power. It's about recognizing that you have the right to prioritize your happiness and to cultivate relationships that are nurturing and fulfilling. When you embrace boundaries, you take control of your narrative, ensuring that your connections are built on mutual respect, effort, and alignment. And this empowerment transforms not only your relationships, but also your sense of self-worth, making you stronger, more confident, and more at peace. Long-term growth in relationships is about fostering emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and resilience to build meaningful, lasting connections. While it's tempting to focus on immediate gratification, like receiving a reply to a message or a quick validation of your effort, true growth comes from taking a broader perspective. When you stop initiating contact, you create space not only to evaluate the relationship, but also to nurture your own development, which is essential for healthier and more fulfilling connections. The first element of long-term growth is self-awareness. By stepping back, you give yourself the chance to reflect on your feelings, actions, and patterns in relationships. Why have you been the one constantly initiating contact? Is it out of fear of losing the relationship, a desire for control, or simply a habit? Understanding your motivations is key to breaking unhealthy cycles. Self-awareness allows you to identify areas for growth, such as setting boundaries, building confidence, or learning to let go of one-sided dynamics. When you focus on your own growth, you become more emotionally independent. Emotional independence doesn't mean you no longer value relationships. It means you no longer rely on them to define your worth or happiness. This shift empowers you to approach relationships from a place of strength and authenticity. You no longer feel the need to overcompensate or seek validation, which naturally attracts healthier, more balanced connections. Another essential component of long-term growth is learning to accept discomfort. When you stop initiating contact, you might feel uneasy or anxious at first. The silence can be unsettling, especially if you're used to being the one who keeps the relationship alive. However, discomfort is often a sign of growth. It pushes you to confront fears and insecurities. By sitting with these feelings instead of avoiding them, you build resilience and emotional strength. Stepping back also promotes personal growth by encouraging you to invest in yourself. The energy you once spent maintaining a one-sided relationship can now be redirected toward your goals, passions, and self-care. This shift not only boosts your confidence, but also enhances your overall sense of fulfillment. When you focus on your growth, you become a more dynamic and self-assured person, which benefits both your individual life and your relationships. In the context of the relationship itself, stepping back allows you to observe whether it has the potential for long-term growth. Relationships that thrive over time are built on mutual respect, effort, and shared values. When you stop initiating, you give the other person the opportunity to demonstrate their commitment and align their actions with their words. This clarity helps you decide whether the relationship is worth investing in or if it's time to move on. Finally, long-term growth is about embracing the journey rather than rushing toward a specific outcome. Relationships are not static. They evolve as people grow and change. By prioritizing your development and seeking connections that nurture that growth, you lay the foundation for relationships that are not only fulfilling, but also sustainable. In the end, long-term growth is a gift you give yourself. It ensures that your relationships, whether romantic or otherwise, are enriching rather than depleting. This mindset allows you to cultivate deeper connections while maintaining a strong sense of self, leading to a more balanced, confident, and fulfilling life. When you stop initiating contact in a relationship, you unlock a profound opportunity for growth, self-discovery, and clarity. This isn't about playing games or testing someone's loyalty. It's about reclaiming your energy, respecting your worth, and allowing the dynamics of the relationship to unfold naturally. By stepping back, you remind yourself of the power of your presence and the value you bring to any connection. You shift from seeking external validation to building a solid foundation of self-worth, which is essential for healthy, balanced relationships. The principle of reciprocity becomes clearer as you observe whether the other person steps forward to match your effort or if the relationship was sustained only by your persistence. This space also brings clarity to intentions, yours and theirs. You gain insight into the other person's priorities and level of commitment, as well as a deeper understanding of your own desires and boundaries. Setting boundaries in this way is not about pushing people away. It's about fostering mutual respect and ensuring that your emotional energy is invested wisely. Moreover, this process fosters long-term growth. It encourages you to develop emotional resilience, self-awareness, and independence, transforming not only your relationships but also your personal journey. As you grow, you attract connections that align with your values and bring genuine fulfillment, creating a life rooted in balance and authenticity. In the end, stepping back is not an act of withdrawal, it's a declaration of self-respect. It's a way of saying, I deserve relationships that are mutual, intentional, and nurturing. Whether the other person meets you halfway or not, you emerge stronger, more self-assured, and ready to embrace connections that truly honor your worth. And that, above all, is the key to thriving in both love and life.